Robin, Pale Rider, probably going to have a lot of maybe some trolls today, so be prepared for all of that, as we know that we see sometimes. Go ahead and share, and we'll get started in just a second. Good morning, Greg. Hello, Gillian. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Please go ahead and share. I know there's a lot going on today. And as you may recall, today is God's Views on Political News at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Please note that you may not be able to see it on Periscope. You may have to go to YouTube or Facebook. Still having the same issues with Periscope. And even though it's not going to be on my system, it's going to go out on their system. Then it may be blocked. Hello, Candace. How are you? Candace, Bill's not here yet. This isn't the God's View shows. That's in another 2 hours. But I'm just telling you, reminding everybody that we are going to have a show today. But like I said, I'm still having the same issues with Periscope. They are looking into it. But you may not be able to see the show today on Periscope. You may have to go to YouTube. So no big deal. Hey, Sandy, how are you? No, Bill's not here. This is not the God's View show. That's in 2 hours. This is my morning show. I'm just letting people know that it's coming up. You'll see him soon enough, right? Okay. Now, let me just go ahead. I'm going to start with reading some parts of Psalm 143. And then we will get started. And Gracie's already barking. So, hear my prayer, O Lord, give ear to my supplications. In your faithfulness, answer me, and in your righteousness. Do not enter into judgment with your servant, for in your sight no one living is righteous. For the enemy has persecuted my soul. He has crushed my life to the ground. He has made me dwell in darkness like those who have long been dead. Therefore my spirit is overwhelmed within me. My heart within me is distressed. And now I'm going down to the bottom, the last one. Revive me, O Lord, for your name's sake, for your righteousness' sake, bring my soul out of trouble. In your mercy, cut off my enemies and destroy all those who afflict my soul, for I am your servant. I'm doing great, Sandy. Good to see you, Tom. I saw you come in as well. I don't know if you saw this morning when the Democrats, hey, Lori, came out. And they had their little news conference. Nancy looked like, and I'll just say it, death warmed over. Nadler couldn't even look up. It was looking down at the floor the whole time. Maxine Waters, of course, somebody probably said, hey, Maxine, we're going for donuts. You want to come with us? I'm not sure she knew where she was. But I'm sure if she did, she was very happy to be there and to know that she could impeach 45, which she's been wanting to do. Hey, Cully. How are you? I'll have a good day. Hey, Pamela. So, but it was pathetic. It was sad to see that you see me good. It was sad to see that our country is being, specifically our republic. Hey, Aussie Nick, is being disintegrated right before our very eyes. Just like. I can see you, but you're freezing at times. I know, Clara. It's bad because I have issues with running so many things at one time. So until we get this back from Periscope, and hopefully they can do something about this soon, I have total issues on Periscope. If it's easier for you, you may want to go over to YouTube because you can see it better. Choppy switching to YouTube, yeah. That would be best, I think, for anybody. I'm going to try to fix the streaming, but it's difficult. Periscope is way behind. Yeah, Periscope, unfortunately, this is what happens when I don't, when I'm kicked off of Periscope and going through a third-party application. This is what happens. It's not good, and hopefully they can get this fixed soon. But anyway, back to what I was saying. It looks like it's going here and there every now and then. Uh, they know what they're doing. They know that they're doing wrong. They know that this has no merit whatsoever. They're going after the president for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Now, an argument that can be made, um, the abuse of power. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, there has been no abuse of power. He's used executive privilege, which he is allowed to do as president. And as far as an abuse of Congress, that's ludicrous. And again, they know that it's ludicrous. Um, but what happens there is that if you're saying that somebody is not complying with Congress, the remedy would be to hold them in contempt. It is not to say that there is an obstruction or anything else like that. That is just that's Democrat speak for we don't have anything, so we're making stuff up. Periscope, I know, Michael. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully in the next couple of days they'll get Periscope fixed, but I don't know. I meant over here. So did Mad Max. Yeah, Mad Max was there. So, but anyway, the articles of impeachment. I can hear you, and that's more important. Yeah, and you can see me now. I think so far you can see me. They looked white as a sheet. Cortland, they look like death warmed over. Hey, Paula, good to see you. Shalom and good morning. They really did look like they knew they were doing something wrong. They didn't want to do it. Even Nancy. Good morning, Judy. Even Nancy knew that what she was doing wasn't the right thing. They came up with these bogus charges. I mean, even Ukraine has said, didn't feel pressured at all, didn't even know that you were holding back the money. And they're trying to make this out as President Trump was doing something to help himself in the election. And, he's done this before, hint, hint, back in 2016, that, hey, Tim Marvin, that he's had, Russian interference helping him, and now he wanted Ukraine to help him. I mean, that's what we're looking at. Hey, Mary, good to see you. And it's just it's so frustrating as an American citizen to sit here and watch this. Hey, Lee, good to see you. That's what's working for the enemy will do to you. Yeah, exactly, Robin. And to watch them do this, to watch them destroy our republic all the time, standing there and with a straight face and saying, we're doing this because we took an oath to defend the Constitution. I'll tell you something, Nancy, when you took an oath, I believe you at the time, you did take that oath and you understood what that oath meant. You don't understand that anymore. You don't have a clue as to what that meant. Yeah, I slowed some things down, Cortland, and so Periscope's up and working better, you guys. The ones that are over on YouTube, if you want to go back to Periscope for now, it's working. So, anyway, it was an embarrassment and a frustration and a sadness and an anger, all of it together, sitting there watching this and knowing that we have very little power over this. Now, somebody had said to me, where are the Republicans? They should be out fighting this. Yeah, they should, but they fought all day yesterday. They should still be, shaking like a leaf. They should still be out there and defending the president. But, it's going to be where next week they're going to vote on the articles of impeachment. And all I have to say is, all of you, including myself, if you know people who are in those 31 districts, who are, in swing states and things like that, and those Democrats, you need to contact those people and tell them, look, do you not see what's going on? This is a career ender for you in the Democrat Party that go along with this. Asking for prayers for my sister-in-law. She has to bury her brother. Oh my gosh. Clara, prayers for her. It cannot be easy for her at all. Judy said it's frightening to think they don't need to have bipartisan support. I know. Well, and you know what? They've already said this, essentially. That they may not win on this this may go to the Senate, and call your senators, call in the swing states especially, Judy. They may not win on this, but guess what? They're just going to keep doing it. If he gets reelected for the next 4 years, they'll continue to do and impeach him every way that they can. Somebody needs to. I don't. This needs to be stopped. I don't know if it needs to go to the courts, but this type of abuse, Congress is abusing their power. The House specifically, they are abusing their power, and this type of abuse needs to stop. We are the American people, right? Exactly, Cortland. What we need to do is we need to walk on Washington, D.C. We need to demand that Congress stop doing this. Hopefully they are gearing up for bigger things. Yeah, I hope so too, Dee. But we also need to vote these people out, like Nancy Pelosi and Nadler and Schiff and Maxine Waters. All of those people need to be voted out. And in the next election, and I don't know any reason that they can't be voted out. I don't know in California if Schiff and Nancy, if they'll keep their positions. People keep voting over and over for these people. It's insane. I just want it off TV because of General Hospital. I know, Wayne. I know, and the country weeps with you. Not really, but okay. I was listening to the House Judiciary, and whenever the hero guys asked for point of order, they were told no. Of course, Nancy's office. Yeah, call Nancy's office. Meet at the Capitol. Calling Nancy's office probably isn't going to do anything. Nancy's not going to take your call. If you go there, Nancy's not going to see you. Nancy says to you people who are the taxpayers, she doesn't care about you. And I will say this, and I honestly say this, and I mean it. The Democrats in Congress, those in the House, they do not love this country. In fact, I would say they hate this country. They want to change this country. They want to transform it into a country that you and I do not recognize. They have pretty much done that so far, and are continuing to do that right in front of our very eyes. This has to stop. Congress has a lot of power. I would say even more so than the other branches. It's not supposed to be that way, but they're showing you that they do. I guess Puzzles is saying there's a large crowd trying to enter Nancy's office. Michael said I'd be arrested if Nancy took my call. Hey, Brandon. It's their first day on Periscope. Welcome. Tim sounds like the story of Joseph's dream for Pharaoh. Hey, Kim, thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming in. It's ridiculous. And watching this, again, it's history repeating itself. It's the saddest day in American history in a long, long time. To watch our Congress just shred the Constitution. They sit there and they act like they're defending the Constitution, and they're not. They're destroying it. They're absolutely destroying it. Hey, Cheryl. And it's sad to see. Okay. Let's start getting into some of the information. There were some tweets coming out this morning. Let me see if I can bring them up for you over here on Periscope as well. And we get this one up for you. This is a tweet that came out this morning from Stephanie Grisham, who is the press secretary. She said there are 5 indisputable facts. 1, no evidence of wrongdoing by the president. Number 2, Ukraine said there was no pressure. Number 3, lethal aid to Ukraine wouldn't exist without real Donald Trump. 4, there's no obstruction whatsoever. 5, this is an unfair and unprecedented impeachment process. And I will say that it's more than just an unprecedented process. It's unconstitutional. It's been unconstitutional from the very beginning. It is like watching a clown circus. I think a bunch of, wow, I just got shut down, Sandy said. Oh, wow, you're back, hopefully. They shut me down on YouTube? Really? That's very strange. It says I'm online on YouTube, so I don't think I've shut down. Maybe I've shut down some people, but people are still back on YouTube. Nadler did interference by letting a witness question another witness. Coup d'etat, Tim said. Yeah. Cully, I've never seen anything happen like that. Robin's on YouTube. Everything's fine on YouTube. So, term limits. Yeah, I mean, we have term limits in California. I mean, it doesn't help if you keep electing Democrats over and over, but we do have those. Um, yeah, Cully, I heard that too. Gillian said. Some other, I forgot to mention some other breaking news that finally that Congress now is actually going to do something. Congress seems to be above the law, and it seems there is nothing we can do about it. Kim, there's got to be, there's got to, in my mind, when you have an out of control Congress, there's got to be something you can do. Whether it's going to the court, maybe to the Supreme Court, I think they're going to have to start doing that. And try and see. Now, USMCA looks like it's going to pass, and they have reached an agreement. Nancy was worried about the people in Mexico not making $16 an hour. Wow, you know what? The people here in the United States rarely make that much money. And for you to pay somebody in Mexico $16 an hour when you don't even care about your own country, Nancy, that's a little bit disturbing. But then again, you are a little bit disturbing and have been for quite some time. So anyway, so that should be all settled. So back here now. Thank you, Laura. Sandy said. Now there were some tweets that came out. A statement came out from AG Barr. Some of the highlights. He said, the Inspector General's report now makes it clear that the FBI launched an intrusive investigation of a U.S. presidential campaign on the thinnest of suspicions that, in his view, were insufficient to justify the steps taken. It may have been justification. Lindsey Graham was saying it might have been justification to start something, but it's not. But it was something that started out well and went to hell. And if you read my article today, I talk about what Graham said yesterday and also show his video. It's in the article. But Barr said it also made clear that there was, during the investigation, there was a consistently exculpatory information. What are they talking about? They're talking about Carter Page. All throughout, if you read the Inspector General report, I've read parts of it. I'm not going to sit and read 500 pages of it. Not unless I'm, being quizzed on it and being paid to do so, to be honest with you. I might get to it at some point, but right now I don't think there's any need to go and do it. I did go through and get some of the highlights. But all through there, they were showing that Carter Page was working with the CIA. The CIA said Carter Page is our source. And it came out that Christopher Steele relied on his subsource, who basically told Christopher Steele information that was, bar talk, hearsay, BS, while they were having a few beers. They were just BSing. And well, Christopher Steele took that information and he used it. And the guy, the subsource, said, I can't believe, hey, Carol, yet I have no income, can't get disability. I know, Carol. And Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about that, let me just tell you. So she doesn't care that you can't. She cares more about what's happening down in Mexico. But Carter Page was, this information was used against Carter Page because Steele took this information, took it to the FBI. The FBI knew that at some point, like in January 2017, they knew that this information was bogus. They used it anyway, and an attorney, Kleinsmith, allegations are he absolutely lied, committed a fraud on the FISA court. I'll tell you something. If that guy doesn't go to jail, I don't know who will go to jail. Also, he should lose his bar license for committing that fraud on the court, if it all pans out that he did. And Lindsey Graham said there was a criminal conspiracy to defraud the court. Well, who was involved in all that? Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Rod Rosenstein, and anybody else that knew about this information, did nothing about it, lied to the courts, and signed the verification to get a couple of warrants against Carter Page and Papadopoulos. I mean, this is the most egregious type, well, other than watching Congress and the House, egregious type of thing that you can do. Hey, Marlene, this is something that, the FBI and the DOJ should be protecting the United States citizens from ever happening to us. And yet we've sat here and we've watched what they've done. Sandy said none of them are going to jail. We'll see. We'll see. There are indictments right now. There are like 8 people that have been indicted. And we'll talk about that and who these people are in a few minutes. Beto could get elected in Mexico. Well, let's hope he goes down there and stays down there, Shedforth. That would be nice. That he has my vote if he does. And then Barr was saying that while most of the misconduct identified by the Inspector General was committed in 2016 and 2017 by a small group of now former FBI officials. Now who is he talking about? That could be Comey, that could be McCabe, that could be Peter Strzok, that could be Lisa Page, that could be other people. Could be, not saying it is. They're saying that the malfeasance and misfeasance detailed in the Inspector General's report reflects a clear abuse of the FISA process. Now, in talking about the Inspector General, people really didn't expect too much to come out of it. This guy, the Inspector General, number one, he was appointed under Obama. Not saying that he's pro-Obama, but let's just say in the past, he's always found that there was never any bias, no political bias, and he always found that there was something wrong with the system. And we see that yesterday, he found something again, that there was something wrong with the system, and that there was no political bias. Gillian said it's all despicable. Yeah, it is despicable, Gillian. And so it was something that we really expected him to do. Again, this IG guy, he works in the Department of Justice. His brothers and sisters are the FBI and the DOJ. He's not going to come out against those people for the most part. Kelly said Nancy said she supports farmers and was raised on one. Nancy Boone's farm doesn't count, Kelly said. She ought to go back to the farm she was raised on, and I think it's probably a funny farm that she's talking about, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, so the IG is more like that person in HR who's sitting there going, okay, how can we do this better? And I just saw Bill Barr is going to be on MSNBC. Well, that's too bad, but okay. I wish he could be on some other network that people actually watch. But I'll take that back. In a way, Judy, maybe it's good he's going on MSNBC. If they let him talk, maybe the people on the left will find out what liars they are. Complacent Republicans are traitors to this country. Well, Joan Crawford, complacent Democrats are traitors to this nation as well. Pig farm, as Sandy said. That's where Nancy came from. He concluded that the Justice Department is going to follow up. This is Barr. He's going to follow up. He's going to look at their recommendations. There are going to be some changes, of course, because there always are after something like this. There'll be changes, especially when it comes to, changes connected to going to the FISA court. Now, I think when you go to the FISA court in the future, what should happen? There should be layers of people who have to approve of what's going on, approve of seeking this warrant before it even gets to the court. There should be probably a 2 to 3 step level that it has to go through. I would say, immediate supervisor, that person's supervisor, and then the last person who is in charge of everything going to the FISA court. I think they have to do something like that. All right. I think also that at this point, maybe Mitt, are you kidding? Mitt is good for one thing, and that is going against the President of the United States when you least expect it. That's what Mitt's good for. People who think politics and religion are not good topics in polite company are a problem. Well, Shadforth, that's why I have a show coming on in about an hour and a half called God's Views on Political News. So that'll be right back here on YouTube, and quite possibly, it probably won't be on Periscope because of the issues I'm having. Investigate Feinstein and her spy driver. Light. I'm just going to call you Light. They're not going to investigate that. They're not going to look and see if Dianne Feinstein did anything to help that guy either. So, that'll just go bye-bye. It already has. You got that right, Sandy. She is a witch, talking about Nancy Pelosi. So what I was going to say was that right now, Carter Page has come out and he says that he has a team of attorneys looking at the IG report. Yesterday, uh, Lindsey Graham, I almost said Nancy Graham, Lindsey Graham said that Carter Page ought to sue the United States. I absolutely agree. I agree. It's all a big steaming pile of horse manure. Marlene said, yeah, all of it is. But Carter Page hopefully will be a rich individual very soon. That he has a team of attorneys that are going to sue the United States. I hate that our money is going to be used. Our money so far has been used in a bogus Mueller investigation, a bogus Ukraine impeachment hearing, and now it's going to go towards paying Carter Page for the violation of his constitutional rights. And I tell you one thing, I think there needs to be Democrats who are personally sued. Don't know if it'll happen, probably not. It'll all be within the scope of their responsibility, but if you step out of your scope and you break the law, then they possibly could be sued individually. But that's so hard to do when you're talking about the government. You even have to get the government's permission. Hey, Jamie, how are you? Am I wrong to see what's happening to Bibi is the same exact thing as Trump? Candace, you're not wrong. It's absolutely true. It is absolutely true. It's the same thing. It's running parallel, and it's basically they're coming after Netanyahu for almost the same thing. Not really. It's not involving Ukraine. It's not involving any type of holding back information so you can beat your opponent in the next election. I mean, it's so asinine what these people are accusing the president of. There's just absolutely no rational thought given to it, none whatsoever. I mean, it's just crazy. I wish I could find another word for crazy. Absurd. It is. Feinstein's a permanent parasite fixture until she dies, Clara. Yes. I don't understand why we the people can't sue them. Rue, here's what we the people can do. We can choose not to re-elect them. We can choose to walk on Washington, D.C., and let them know our thoughts. We could convince the Congress to remove these people in Congress who are violating our Constitution. But and I know, that's never going to happen. Demonic is the word Gillian said, yes. Because if that were to happen, if Congress were to go along with it and remove other Congress members, they would have themselves, they'd be afraid of being removed themselves somewhere along the line. And they're not going to do that. They like their little cushy jobs. They like the money they get paid. And they're not going to do anything that's going to hurt themselves. Hope you're doing well, Jamie. And be busy, I'm hoping. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what the rally is going to be like tonight. I hope that President Trump just lets it fly. I hope he doesn't cuss as much as he normally does. I think he probably will because he's upset. I think when he does that, it's not good for, in general, especially on TV. It just really isn't. There are kids watching. There are kids in the crowd. I know some of you may think that the F word is just another word in the English language, but, and he doesn't say the F word, not yet at least, but when he says BS and he spells it out, and when he says other things, I think it's going down a bad path, and it sends a signal that he's upset. I don't think he should be upset. I don't think he should show the fact that he is upset about things. I really don't. I don't think that's good for him. I don't think it's good for the country. And I just hope, that he wouldn't do that. Now, there was a tweet. Let me see if I can bring this up for you. That the president, you can tell that, he is not happy with Christopher Wray. I don't know how Mr. Trump copes with this tyranny from the Dems. I don't know either. Other than the fact, Gillian, that it obviously has to be God helping, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to do it. No human being can do it. Now, President Trump here says, I don't know what report current director, I guess he wanted to make sure you didn't think it was James Comey, but I don't know what report current director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, was reading, but it sure wasn't the one given to me. With that kind of attitude, he will never be able to fix the FBI, which is badly broken, despite having some of the greatest men and women working there. Hey, Jerry, how are you? Now, basically what happened was, and I know that Ray is probably in a bad spot, but what happened was he came out and he said, well, there are good people here, and which there are. There are good people here. I don't think there's a deep state. Okay, well, you've been living in a hole or a cave somewhere. Who acted like they were holding a gun to President Trump's back? I missed it. I don't know. I didn't hear. I don't know if I said that, Rue. I didn't say that. Somebody else may have, but. So basically, I hope that President Trump gets rid of Ray. And I know there are other people who don't like Ray. I don't think Ray is necessarily doing a great job. I don't think he's necessarily, if he can't see that there are problems within the FBI, if he hasn't fixed some of these problems, instead of he waited for the IG report, then there's a problem with Christopher Wray. I don't know what he's been doing. Ray's not good, Jerry said. Claire said, I'm disgusted because these lousy minority groups have become majority in implementing our laws. But I think that Ray needs to go. We need to get a new director of the FBI. I'll take that job if it's open to me. I'll take it. I'll lead the FBI. This stuff will never happen again. I can promise you that. No, I saw it somewhere else. I just didn't catch the name. Oh, okay. I didn't see that article or whatever. But anyway, okay. So let me see what else that we have. There was some pertinent parts of the IG report when I went through and looked at them. Trump needs to get rid of Lindsey Graham too. No, he can't get rid of Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was elected by the people, and the only way you get rid of Lindsey Graham is to not reelect him, or for Congress to get rid of him, and that's not going to happen. All right. So, Lindsey Graham also said yesterday when he came out that he's going to be looking to see when Robert Mueller and his team, when they knew about the fact that the information that Steele had relied upon to go after Carter Page and Papadopoulos was bogus. I'm guessing they knew pretty soon because Bruce Orr was involved, and I believe Bruce Orr knew or could have known, or maybe should have known, and that there's a possibility that Bruce Orr spoke to Christopher Steele after they stopped using him as an informant. Now, in the IG report, in part of their recommendations, this is recommendation number 8, let's see, they said that the Department's Office of Professional Responsibility, the Department's Office of Professional Responsibility, should review our findings related to the conduct of Department Attorney Bruce Orr for any action it deems appropriate. Orr's current supervisors in the department's criminal division should also review our findings related to Orr's performance for any action they deem appropriate. The FBI should review the performance of all the employees who have responsibility for the preparation, Woods review, or approval of the FISA applications, as well as the managers, blah, 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 blah. So, Bruce Orr is on the hot seat. I don't know if there's going to be any criminal charges brought against Bruce Orr, but the professional responsibility, Bruce Orr possibly could lose his law license. Don't know if anything's going to happen to Bruce Orr, but I think POTUS knows a lot more than what meets the eye. Oh, Cortland, absolutely. We're at the halfway point. If everybody would go ahead and please reshare this, I would really appreciate it, and then we will move on to the next round, to the next round of the crazy world. Hey, Judith Myers Hagen, how are you? Good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. So yes, please share if you will. I'm trying to share this again. All right. Okay. All right, there we go. Everything's back. I need a whiteboard to keep this straight. Judy, you need a whiteboard. You need a documentary made of it because it is hard to decipher what's going on. It's just so ludicrous that you can't keep up with it. And just, hey, Oregon Patriot, and just when you think that you know what's going on, you don't really know what's going on because there are no rules. I mean, if there were rules, perhaps you could keep up with it. But I think it's intentional that there aren't any rules. There aren't any rules in the House. There aren't any rules anywhere. So um, let me see if I can bring this up if I have this for you. I'm not sure that I do. All right. Well, I'll bring it up over here on YouTube, and then I'll tell you what I'm bringing up over on Periscope. So what I'm bringing up right now is a tweet that describes about what John Durham was thinking. He said, John Durham says they do not agree with some of the report conclusions as to predication and how the FBI case was opened. He says, I disagree with the IG's conclusion in the tweet. I have the utmost respect for the mission of the Office of Inspector General and the comprehensive work that went into the report prepared by Mr. Horowitz and his staff. However, our investigation is not limited to developing information from within the component parts of the Department of Justice. And see, what he's saying is that this guy, he's the HR person, so to speak, that his job is to look inside the department and find out what went wrong. Robin said this would all drive me nuts without God. Absolutely. Absolutely. So incestuous, yes, Judy, that's a good word to describe it. So he's saying our investigation has included developing information from other persons and entities, both in the U.S. and outside of the U.S. So they went to Italy, they went to Australia. I don't know where else they went. They went, I think, to one other country, Ukraine. I know. I mean, who knows what they went to Ukraine for with this, but maybe they did. And they went, I forget, does somebody remember what other countries, hey, Cindy, other countries they went to? They went to one other. They went to Italy and Australia, but there was another one. If you rules are meant to be broken, nah, sunshine, rules aren't meant to be broken. Based on the evidence collected to date and while our investigation is ongoing, last month we advised the Inspector General that we don't agree with some of the report's conclusions as to predication, meaning how was it, should they have started that investigation. They're saying, Barr has said this previously, and Durham is saying, no, we're saying we disagree with that. We're saying there was not enough information to warrant you starting an investigation altogether on the Trump administration. So that should be coming out pretty soon, and we'll see what more when the report gets here. I don't know when his report's going to get here, but I wish that these reports would hurry up and get here. That we wouldn't keep waiting on these reports and then not getting anything. That to me is disheartening. I want to be waiting another 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get something. Okay, so let me bring out another thing here. Now, yesterday, Mark Meadows brought some things up, and I thought this was really good. Let me see if I can. Don't know if I have the Mark Meadows one over here, but I will certainly try to see if I have it. Nope, don't seem to have that tweet for you over here on Periscope. But let me tell you what Mark Meadows had to say. Let me close this one out. Mark Meadows says, wow, page 341. IG says FBI used an August 2016 defensive briefing with the Trump campaign as an opportunity to gather potentially relevant investigative information about Michael Flynn. They used defensive briefings for their investigation into the Trump campaign. Wow. Think about that. They went to the White House, went for defensive briefings they were spying, during these defensive briefings in order to gather information on Michael Flynn. I mean, that's crazy. They weren't there for the purpose that they said they were there. They were spying on the United States. And it's like Kelly Ann Conway says, why wasn't the Trump administration ever told about anybody potentially within their campaign that might be colluding, obstructing, or doing anything with the Russians? Why was the administration never told? We shall see if at least anything will be done, Alexis said. The Dems' only goal is to hold the Senate and House seats by appearing to fight back, Tillman said. Well, I tell you, I think they've just lost everything, Tillman. I really hope that they have, and they deserve it. They're not more deserving people that really should lose the election and lose their shirts. There should be a red tide like we've never seen before. Judy put up there contactingcongress.org, and that would be to contact your representative. My representative is all tied up right now because he just pled guilty to campaign finance violations, and he may be resigning soon. So don't know if he'll be there to take the phone calls or not. That is so disheartening too about my Congressman Duncan Hunter. I'll tell you, that just takes the cake. Now, Louis Gohmert also had some things to say yesterday. See if I can find Gohmert's tweet on that. If not, I'll just read you what he said. Okay, so Louis said, "We're already got the forms. All we have to do is eliminate Donald Trump's name and put Joe Biden's name in there because he's on video. He and his son, he basically has admitted to the crime that's being hoisted on the president improperly." Now, he was talking about the quid pro quo that Joe, we have Joe on tape. There was no collusion. No, there wasn't any collusion. There hasn't been. There's been no crimes proven against the president because you know why? Because none have been committed. The bogus abuse of power and the obstruction of Congress is just another abuse of Congress's power to try to create something. Hey, Loretta Gilmore, good to see you. It's bogus. There's been no crime. The only answer is that many are indicted. Yeah, that would be great. Now, in other information, President Trump, after yesterday when he got the word, let me see if I can bring this up for you. I like the fact, we've missed Gohmert because he's been gone for quite a while. I don't know where he's been, but he hasn't been around very much, and I'm glad he's kind of back now. Let me see. All right. So President Trump yesterday said the do-nothing Democrats are a disgrace. The president of Ukraine has just again announced that President Trump has done nothing wrong with respect to Ukraine. In our interactions or calls, if the radical left Democrats were sane, which they are not, it would be case over. And right after, the very next day, after they finished these hearings that were despicable hearings, that were laughable, that had the attorney for that Schiff hired, Goldman, when he was being questioned by Doug Collins. Doug Collins, by the way, did a very, very good job. He really did. He was kind of like what we wanted Trey Gowdy to be, that Trey Gowdy stopped being like, right? But he did an excellent job. He really went after the attorney. He didn't let him get away with anything. He one of the things that he said, let me bring this up for you. He said, "Who ordered the subpoenaed phone numbers be connected to members of Congress and journalists Adam Schiff or Daniel Goldman? Who ordered those names to be released to the public? Schiff failed to show. Goldman refused to answer." And so here we go. We have Schiff, who's not coming in to answer questions in front of Congress. Is he obstructing Congress? Is a congressman possibly obstructing Congress? Because he didn't even show up yesterday. He didn't come there, and yet he didn't assert any privilege of why he wasn't there. Instead, he sends his attorney, which basically, he didn't answer anything. He tried to blame everybody else, but answer the questions. And this is for you on Periscope, who ordered subpoenaed phone numbers. This is what was being said. Now, also, one of the things that that Collins went into, and that he did such a great job on. Let me bring this up for you. He said, Democrats counsel, "I'm not going to reveal how we conducted this investigation." And Collins said Democrats refuse to tell America what the tactics they're using to impeach the president Americans elected. And again, it's the Democrats saying everybody else is obstructing justice when they are in fact the ones who are obstructing justice. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. This is who that they have become. Tyler, Texas is lucky to have Gomer. Unlike Houston, they have Sheila Jackson Lee and Al Green. What's up with Houston? Houston, we have a problem. You're making some really bad decisions over there, Houston. He calls a spade. Gillian said, yeah, Louis does. Of course, Houston is a sanctuary city. Of course. Lock up Schiff. That would be nice. Schiff, I'm fine. Danny, how are you? The thing about Schiff, the sad thing about Schiff is probably nothing is going to happen to him. He's got immunity because he's a member of Congress. And again, I don't think, thank you, Danny, greetings in Christ Jesus' name to you as well. I don't think the founders ever thought that Congress would go off the rails. But see, this is why we have the executive branch and the judicial branch. If Congress goes off the rails, there should be a way, if going to the court system, somebody needs to know what has to be done. For example, I said this yesterday, all the governors in all the states and all the senators in all the states should march with the people on Washington, D.C., should call Congress and tell them, reverse course before it's too late. Did you notice all the Dems panel looked like a deer in headlights answering questions? They were clueless. Yeah. Mike Smith said, flush that Schiff. Yes. Al Green, what a handsome guy. There you go, Thomas. What a handsome guy. What's so important about phone calls? Well, nothing. There wasn't anything in a phone call that showed any quid pro quo. I mean, it's going to be laughable when the Senate takes this up. Now, I keep hearing, that Lindsey Graham didn't want it to go into a full trial. Ted Cruz has said yesterday wasn't going to go into a full trial, but Mitch McConnell said it is going to go into a full trial. So I don't know what we're going to do. Now, if you go into a full trial, you risk with your client. There is risk, okay? But if you go into a full trial, you're going to make the Democrats look like the crazy, unhinged, unconstitutional, illegitimate individuals in Congress that they are. Hey, Sandy, how are you? Yes, Donald Trump 2020, absolutely, all day. And I'll tell you what, if the Constitution allowed it, I would say let's go beyond 2024 for Donald Trump. Let's let him be reelected a third time. Of course, that is unconstitutional. That won't be done unless the Constitution is changed, and I don't see that happening. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. Now, so again, they've got to get into more and find out who did all of this spying. Why did Schiff feel that it was okay to leak information from other Congress members? And you know why he did this is because during the hearings with Schiff, Nunes made Schiff look bad. And Schiff made himself look bad, but Nunes just spotlighted it. Mitch knows there's no need for a full trial. He's being a jerk, Robin said. Yeah. Oh, got involved in tree and forgot the time. Well, there you go, Barbara. Now, James Comey yesterday came out in his, came out in his pompous, I didn't do anything wrong attitude. That guy, I mean, of all people, he's one of the people that I would love to see, see justice brought for getting James Comey. He said, so it was all lies, no treason, no spying on the campaign, no tapping Trump's wires. It was just good people trying to protect America. No, James, that's not what was said, but that's the way that you would read it. Because, there was something like 17 omissions that weren't done, that damaged people, that damaged their constitutional rights, that damaged potentially their civil rights, that thing. Absolutely, let's do an amendment. I know. Sunshine said, I'm marching. Isn't that what the support monies are for, really? Pretty sure each president expected certain actions for the money, Rue said. Um, and it's funny because I noticed yesterday that Brennan hadn't spoken in about, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that, probably waiting for the the IG report to be released. But then he, of course, opened up and talked about how horrible President Trump was and how he made this nation unsafe and blah blah blah. There's another person that we need to have justice done. Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Rosenstein. I can think of more, but I'm just saying those are the ones that come to mind. Now, as I was saying, didn't Obama give bundles of cash in return for certain actions? Obama gave cash to everybody. He also interfered with Israel's election, Rue. So yeah, he gave bundles of cash to Iran. So what's not what you read, Barbara? So there also are indictments that really people haven't talked too much about. I wanted to talk about those a little bit. 8 people include. This was reported last week. I can't remember who reported it. It was either, I want to say the Gateway Pundit, but I think it was somebody else. But it was a known media. 8 people, including a longtime political networker and a CEO, have been indicted on charges of funneling money illegally into the Hillary Clinton 2016 presidential campaign and other political groups. Now, why isn't mainstream media, why aren't they talking about it? Comey is a commie, Clara said. Ruth said, I remember. Sandy said he bowed to every enemy we have. Well, yes, he did, Sandy. He absolutely did bow to them. Now, George Nader, who has 4 decades hobnobbed with political elites and become a key Mueller cooperator. So he was in the Mueller investigation, told them everything they wanted to know. He was just so helpful. And it's coming back to bite him. He was an allied wallet CEO, Ahmad Andy Khawaja, are accused of sending millions to political committees and hiding Nader as its source, with Nader allegedly reporting to a Middle Eastern government on the effort. Where's Rosenstein? Clara, Rosenstein either is going to speak today or tomorrow, or he already has spoken at some conference. So there you go. I don't know. Mike Incognito. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tigger. Yeah, he is. His speech patterns are weird. I mean, seriously, they are. And his breathing, how he breathes, is just weird. I don't know what that's all about, but it's a strange thing. Very strange. Okay. Obama gave himself plenty of cash. Well, Obama, poor guy, when he came into the White House, I don't know that he was a millionaire, but the poor man, he became a millionaire. He just bought, I don't know if there's 134 million indictments, JVA. The report I was reading sure was different than Comey's. Oh, yeah. Well, the report that you were reading and America was reading, was so different from Comey's, because Comey lives in this world that is somewhere up in the clouds and involves a grandfather clock in the White House. And it's not necessarily in the reality that we all live in, but Comey lives in a different place. What I was going to say is that, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. There's supposedly going to be a vote next week as to the articles of impeachment. Today, what was seen, what was displayed by the Democrats is a total embarrassment. Don't forget a second pretend to feel bad for that fake president, Mike Smith said. Again, I would encourage each one of us, to call those Democrats in the states that, like Arizona is one, where it's, if they vote for impeachment, 31 states, 31 people in these states that are going to probably be saying goodbye to their congressional seat. And I'll tell you what, I hope that these people like AOC and Ilhan Omar and Rashida don't get reelected. Sidebar, starting in January, I'll be part of Minnesota Caucus. Good for you, Judy. Absolutely good. Minnesota Caucus. I love that name. Minnesota needs your help, Judy. I'm glad that you're doing that. Sorry, thousands. I don't know, JVA, if there's that many. I mean, that sounds, sometimes we hear that. That sounds a little bit like what Q would say, or somebody who likes and follows Q. I don't know that there's that many. I mean, that would be too hard to handle if it were that many. And when something sounds far-fetched, sometimes it really is far-fetched. So I'm saying I think there are a lot of them, and there will be more indictments, I believe. Voter fraud needs to be a fix, or it will be more of the same. Yeah, Mike, as you will recall, when I tried to vote in 2016, a place where I had voted forever, they changed me to a house, and I had to vote in a garage with other people. And they totally screwed up handing me a ballot that wasn't for me. It was a Democrat ballot. Then it was one-sided ballot. And I think a third time they gave me another wrong ballot. I finally had to go back and make sure that I got the right ballot. I watched everything that they did. I called and reported everything that happened. But who's going to care, right? When you get down to it and you're having to report things on the day of the voting, it's not going to matter, and especially in California. But Judicial Watch has done a great job in California in going through the system, the court, and making Los Angeles have to remove, like, what is it, 1 million people or something like that off their voter rolls. So Judicial Watch has done an amazing job. That's all I have to say. You can call representatives even if you're not in their district. Absolutely. Yep, call them, tell them, America is watching, America is seeing what you're doing, and America is going to get out and vote. If what they're saying about the black vote is true, that went from 8% to 34% in supporting President Trump, it should be very bad for Democrats if all of that is true. A garage, yes, Rue. They have you vote in a garage in a person's house. I pray that God helps take these socialists out. Clara, I pray the Book of Esther. And I read that yesterday in regards to Haman in the Book of Esther. And that's what I pray. And we'll see what God has his own way of doing things and knows more about things than I do. And he will see his purpose utilized. It won't be mine or yours or anybody else's, but it will be his purpose. So anyway, let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and, if I can bring this up here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. If you would please retweet this. Please also read my article today at SusanKnowles.com. I will see you in 1 hour. As I said before, you probably won't be able to watch the God's Views on Political News on Periscope. You can try to watch it there, but you'll probably have to go over to YouTube and watch it until Periscope gets this problem fixed. And so God bless you guys. Thank you for retweeting and sharing, and I'll see you in an hour. Take